Okay, let's start. What we're going to talk about today, we're going to intro first. We're going to tell you about our company, what we do. Then we're going to tell you what AI and data science is, as for example, you're the first people who like hear this today, right? Then we explain how career in Korea for data science is different from other countries, right? And what you need to have to build a successful career, right? I mean, it doesn't matter with us or without us, right? Also, we're going to speak about like what you need to know, right? And how you get hired, right? And I will give a couple of examples later on what really data scientists do, right? For example, what kind of task he or she performs and so on, kind of project he or she is involved to. We also like touch upon briefly on the like DeepSeek news, right? This new Chinese company, and we'll tell you about our like explanation, our ideas about this as well. Okay, let's get it started. Okay, so what are we? Who are we are, right? We teach programmers and designers from any level for 8 to 12 months, right? To the level that is enough to get a job, right? We have accreditation from Ministry of Education, so we're official Hag 1. Hag 1 means like additional education, right? We're not a university, we're not a high institution, but we are like online additional institution, right? Studying. We have right now more than 200 graduates, 200 students, better to say, and all of the students actually are foreigners, right? We only teach foreigners. I'm a foreigner myself. Most of our team are foreigners, right? 75 graduates work in Korea, all foreigners as well, right? In the big companies. I mean, some big companies, some small companies, mostly some small and medium enterprises, but yeah, it's all Korean companies, right? They're all working Korean companies. More than 92% of the graduates employed, and students gain experience in real project, not only dry theory, because we also like not only teaching coding, we also like doing IT outsourcing for companies for money, for example, right? We also do have some like foreigner-friendly companies network, which we are like going to share with you guys, right? When you will graduate. I'll just give you a couple of reviews from our like first graduates. One of the first graduates was Hussein. He's from Uzbekistan. He was a Korean university graduate, but he couldn't find a job due to his lack of skills. And maybe also not only hard skills, but also soft skills, right? So he re-educated himself in Java course with us, right? And then I think he already on his fifth job, right? And because he had only do like a graduate visa, right? He's been sponsored 5 times for a visa, so it's not a problem if you're a good expert, if you're good like I mean, if you're doing well in coding. Also, we have Irene. She used to be housewife. She graduated. She gave birth. She married, right? And then she wanted to change her career a little bit, right? And she learned about design, right? For in that month, she graduated and find a job maybe in first 2 weeks or so. So it was pretty fast. We also have Sergey from Russia. He actually came to Korea maybe 3 to 4 years, maybe 3 years ago, right? And he used to work in data analyst department, right? And he wanted to become more like a hardcore developer. So he also graduated our Java course, and he found a very good job. I think it was 60 million won as a first job, which was very good. And he didn't speak not only he didn't speak any Korean, but he also didn't have a valid visa. So he had been sponsored to visa as well. And now actually last summer, he was invited to join company in the Netherlands. So it's also possible. So he moved himself and all his family to Netherlands. Also, we have Andrew, right? He used to be a translator. Like in Korea, it's hard to find a good like career per se other than IT. For example, myself, I was overseas marketing guy, right? And I also did the selling for some time, right? The Andrew was a translator in a big company. I think it was a Hyundai or something, right? But he did all the same job over and over again. That's why he switches his career, and now he's already like he's our mentor, by the way, right? And he's already doing coding jobs all over the world. Now he's in Canada. And maybe for some of you also can relate to this story. There's a Daniel from Australia. He used to be an English instructor, right? English teacher. Yeah, I mean, as English teacher, he made decent money, but he wanted to build a career, right? So he educated himself with us, courses for 10 months of training and found a job very quickly. I think he doing backend for electric vehicles, charging stations, or something like this. Okay. So I also told you about very briefly about myself. I am actually, I'm like investment banker turned to like startup enthusiast and startup development guy, right? I graduated a couple of universities in Russia and a Senegal University. I did my PhD also back home. I also graduated KAIST MBA, like when I came to Korea 11 years ago, right? And since then, I do a lot of work, right? I'm still a startup mentor for one of the biggest fund, Nautilus Investments, and I run my startup Habsida for over 4 years already, right? And I can relate to your stories as well because I'm also a foreigner, so I can see how it goes, and I try to make our life kind of better and build career. And also, I know a lot of startup networks, so I can source some kind of jobs for you directly as well. So who else we have here? We have Vladimir. He is our mentor. He is our main author on the course. He is a graduate of Seoul National University, right? And he has more than 5 years experience doing a project for some very big companies like Samsung and so on. Now he works as a senior machine learning engineer. He will be primarily guy who's going to teach you and make sure that you guys will like, thrive. Also, we have Vladimir Khan. He is also he is PhD graduate, right, from Far East University of Russia. He is an expert in education. Also, we have Jenny Beck. He's a PhD graduate from KAIST. And we have a child director, Jenny. She has nothing to do with development, right? She is kind of a person who will help you to build a story, to build a narrative, and how you present your story to the potential hires when we graduate, right? We have I think two graduates from Nepal, and we have actually two students from Nepal right now, right? So four. I think it's in top 10 of the countries that like in our course right now, right? And one of the graduates already working for like, I think already 6 months already working in the company, right? So yeah, so far so good. So far so good. Okay, let me continue. As I already told you, we're not only education company, we do outsourcing project, right? So we take projects from all over the world. Our clients are from US, from Central Asia, but most of our clients, of course, international and Korean companies, right? International and Korean companies in Korea, right? That's why we will also give you guys like some projects that from real companies that you will can include not only in your portfolio, but you can also train yourself and you can also like benefit from the real work, right? That's why like we are a small company. That's why we want to like maximize the utility for you guys, right? So we did a lot of apps, AI related. Usually it with API, but something like this, right? So I think you will know when you see it. Okay, now we're gonna talk about AI, our main topic today, right? We're gonna cover what AI is. We're gonna cover what kind of jobs in Korea. We wanna cover like what do you need to know and some project cases as well. Now I will pass my word to our like ML engineer, the main mentor, also the course, Vladimir Igai. Please welcome.
Hi everyone. Thank you for the introduction, and I'll be the mentor for this course. And let me like talk a bit about the AI field, so you'll have some understanding what we are doing in the field, and probably like what you are gonna do in the future, and I don't know, like yeah, what you will learn. So let's move to the next slide. Yeah. So when we say the AI, like what do you usually understand? Uh, it might be like different things, but what I usually understand is the AI is some combination of the data where the data that you are processing and some of the processing, of course, that you are doing on the data, some of the adaptation that you need to match your kind of cases for your specific business case and interaction. And of course, like once you build your basic AI, it needs to interact with the world. For example, like a GPT interacting with all of you guys through the API, right? And let's start from the beginning. Like let's take this case when you call somewhere, right, on the phone, and what was the original progress. Like we used to call somewhere like to the company, and if there is a customer service, they would like just answer. There would be a human sitting, or the customer service sitting and answering every person, like to, like and solve their problems, right? And the next we then the next we would have like some first steps of automation. And the first step of automation was, remember when you call somewhere, and I mean, you still like can see those cases, and you're calling somewhere and they're asking you to press the buttons. So they say like, oh, if you want to do this, then press button one, and if you want to do something else, then you press button two, etc. Right? And that was the first case of automation that we tried to automate. Now, can I go next slide? Now you can see the next version of automation, because now if you call somewhere, then the AI can answer, and AI directly asks you how it can help you. And then you can have almost human-like interaction. So you ask directly and it interacts with you directly. And let's see what happens like when the AI takes some of our jobs. Like around like yeah, almost around the time when the first GPT case arrived, we started seeing some weird news. For example, there was an Indian company, I believe. It called like Dukan, and they would outsource the customer service. So if a company doesn't have their own customer service, they would like reach the Dukan, and they would like provide these services when the people answer the customers. However, like in around like 2023, like when the first GPT arrived, we saw that Dukan laid off 90% of their personnel. 90%. So they would have like, I don't know, around 2000 or something personnel laid off, because you can actually replace most of the people by paying a couple of people's salary only. And if you can do, if the AI can do such an efficient work, then probably, I mean, for the company, they don't want to hire human anymore, right? And another case, I mean, this one doesn't relate to the GPT case, but it's related to the robotics. We know that from like a couple of years ago already, like the South Korea had almost the top for the automation. We had like around like 10% of labor was replaced by the robots, because we see that the hourly payment is rising, and there are some also like difficulties. For example, like in Korea, that you cannot employ someone for more than I believe like 50 hours per week or something like that. And of course, the companies need to earn the money, and they need like to have workers more than 50 hours per week, right? They want like someone to work 24 hours per day, etc. And you cannot employ the humans like that. And they started to replace the humans by robots, and we already have like high percentage of robots working in the factories. And of course, like the other one is the continuous rising of wages. And if if the hourly payment is like now, I think it's around 10,000 won, and like it's keep rising, and for the companies becomes more efficient to just like buy a robot that does the same thing. Let's talk about a different like terminologies or the different fields in the AI that you might have heard some of them, but I'll try to explain the differences. Probably the most thing like that you hear all the time is ML or machine learning and the deep learning. And let me try to explain the difference. The machine learning is usually understood as a statistical way of processing the data. So you have the data and you have the mathematical knowledge that you apply on top of the data, and you have some of, I don't know, some averages or some prediction models. And that is usually like machine learning. Machine, I don't know like why machine, but probably machine is like more for calculation. And then we have a deep learning. And the difference between the machine learning and the deep learning is that deep learning tries to imitate the human brain. And like in the terms of DL or deep learning, uh, even though it still uses the some of the math, but it's kind of like more processes the data, more like I don't know, like that statistics is not the regular statistic that we would learn in regular like the regular classes. There we are actually trying to implement the human brain cells. And then once we have categorized our AI into the machine learning field and the deep learning field, it's the same AI field, but a different way of approaching it. Now we can categorize the AI itself. And AI itself can be categorized to computer vision, which is the AI that tries to work with images or with videos. And for example, you can think of the face recognition that if you see that your when you open your phone and the phone recognizes that it's you, right? And it can like unlock the phone, etc. Or the autopilot cars drives and they detect the humans, they detect the cars and everything, all the environment. That everything is done by the computer vision because it sees, right? And another category is the NLP or natural language processing. And NLP is working with the text. So you can process the speech or I don't know like any news, every like written information that human understand. You can process that using the NLP field. This is also like the AI field. That's like, yeah, that's like different category. And then we have the reinforcement learning, or in short, we call it RL. And RL is usually applied in the games. If you saw the AI that plays good games, for example, like the AlphaGo or other like, I don't know what games you play, but any AI that is integrated into the games, or I can add like the robotics is added here, or the robotics that you can see that field of AI is reinforcement learning. Okay, and then like these three are the major fields from the AI that you have, and then we have and also like some kind of the new categories like speech recognition and synthesis. And speech recognition is some kind of like the subfield of the NLP, but this field is focusing more on the speech itself. So when I'm talking and I'm explaining now like anything to you, and the same way that you understand, then you try to teach the computers or the AI to understand humans. Or if you saw that the new AIs that can generate the human-like voices or even like clone the voices, then everything is going to this field of speech synthesis, right? And then we like recently we also have like kind of AI agents or I mean robotics. And let's talk about the agents. Do you remember like just like previously I was talking about the agent who can answer to the phone and help the clients. So those agents are specific AI that trained to do some specific tasks. So you can say that those kind of agents are appearing a lot these days, and yeah, those is the kind of like more the way how you apply the AI. And the last one is generative AI. Generative AI, like these days, is a common word. Probably, like if you in the AI field and or if you are in the IT field and you want to like apply anywhere, that you might see a lot of like Gen AI or generative AI like in their like skill listing. So a lot of companies asking to have at least this skill. And generative AI, example of generative AI is like any AI that generates some new information. And you can say that the ChatGPT or Midjourney generates beautiful images, like uh, almost like the real life images. So those all those information is generated. That's why it's generative AI, generated by AI. This is like a good slide or the thing that I found. There is a company, the forum called World Economic Forum, as you know, like, and their main job is to have kind of predictions for the future, and they have the statistics of the current world and the job market and everything. And they recently submitted like this report, and the report says that by the year of uh, 2030, so basically 5 years from now, right? Uh, the following jobs are going to gain the popularity, while the right ones are going to lose the popularities. And why you are thinking about the 2030? Because this like 5 year gap is exactly the gap that you kind of like get a real professional in any field, right? And this kind of prepares us like to decide what major or what future we want to like have. So if you look here, that the fastest growing jobs are like the first place is the big data specialist, the fintechs are usually like these days the AI is deployed in fintech as well, but fintechs is more like uh, anything that works with the money, like this recent like digital currency like blockchain, etc., is also goes to this fintech. Or there's a lot of like NFT or some projects that related to the money. That's everything fintech. Then AI and machine learning, of course, like it's like and then software engineering, security, data visualization, right? Data warehouse. Uh, and you see that most of the jobs, I would say like top 5 jobs are IT related, and mostly like the data and AI related jobs. And now let's talk why you were saying that our course is called data science. And first, let me explain like what the background usually like what background humans usually have like when coming to data science field. Some of the backgrounds are like programming skills, like you might be like a front end or back end just developer who has the programming skills. And some of people have the mathematical knowledge. I don't know, they are from the engineering or some other like fields related to math. And there are like some people that are in business, so they are sellers or something, some people who understand the business, right? And let us talk like if usually if someone has the programming skills and also has good like mathematical understanding, they are usually going to machine learning, because as you remember that machine learning is a field that uh, develops AI mostly using the math, right? And then if you have the programming skills, but you also like in the business, then you can like kind of go. to this data engineer, and data engineers are usually the people who prepares or structures the data, right? And then we have the business and the math people. So if you have both of these skills, like mathematical and the business intelligence, then you can go to analytics. And if you see the analytics is not integrated with programming at all. So usually analytics is done in the Excel document or something. So if you have your Excel with the data and you have some, you have some knowledge of the data, then you can create some charts, anything that is that human, like that people are called usually like analytic or analyst or something. And then our course is data science. So we have, we learned like some programming skills on the first courses. Then we have some basics of math that we need to know. And then we do some like real world projects. And that's why we kind of try to push you to this data science field. So you will like, you learn basics from all the fields. And now let's talk about the regular life cycle of AI development. So if you want to develop any AI, like you or the company, the usual life cycle starts from, of course, data collection, because you need the data on top of which you will train your own AI. Okay, so this data collection usually starts at the company. So the company, I mean, of course, there probably some person who understands some AI will explain to the company what data they should collect. And then the next one is the data preprocessing. And the data preprocessing is the basically you structure the data in a form that AI can understand. Okay, and model selection is basically selecting the AI model, because we have a lot of them which can process this particular data. And then the model training, evaluation. Evaluation is you evaluate how well the model performs on the data that you collected. Okay, so you train your model, and then you need to evaluate if the model actually does the job that it intended to do. And then deployment. Deployment is that once you develop all your the model and everything, once you approve that the model is working, you want to deploy it to the production, so your company or like the clients can be happy. And then the monitoring. Monitoring is like constantly checking if the model is still working, because it can like I don't know, the trend might change or something, and you might have not the exact the same result that you were intending to do. And maintenance. And of course, maintenance is like you're checking if there are some errors. And now let's see that where our skills are going to lie here. The data collection, as I mentioned, is usually done with the company. So we start from the data preprocessing. So we learn how to preprocess the data, and this is like the one of the largest part that you will be doing as a AI engineer. And then the model selection, because you need to you need to find statistical model that will feed the data. Then the training, of course, and evaluation. And like these four parts are the main part that we will do, and probably will kind of cover this deployment part at the end of the course. And the rest of that are usually done by some other people or the company itself. Okay, so now from this life cycle, you can understand that you're kind of doing most of the parts from the whole AI life cycle.
I'm gonna talk you about on this in the next couple of slides about the market itself, right? It doesn't need to be AI. It's like in general, right? What's the market in Korea stands for, what it consists of, and so on. Okay. I'm gonna also draw a little bit for you guys. So basically, like we have in green, we have companies, all kind of like companies who create projects, right? Of course, it's a unicorns, right? There are not so many actually unicorns, and maybe like 15 to 20 unicorns in Korea, right? Like most recent would be like something like Carrot, Tangen Market, or something like TOS, right? Something like this, right? They create a lot of projects, right? They are rarely outsourced, right? They do their things pretty well, but most of them kind of these days incur big losses. People say they are overpriced, overvalued, right? For example, Carrot cannot make any money, any profits, right? Also, I mean, nowadays, Coupang doing better, but last year it also didn't do very well as well, right? And something like this, right? So basically, they are really good companies to work for, right? But at the same time, kind of they sometimes they lay out people, or they rarely outsource their things to another companies, right? Also, we have conglomerates. Conglomerates is you know like Chaebol, Samsung, anything like this, right? They have a lot of money, they have a lot of power, but they actually do outsource. They have IT projects, they always outsource to their subsidiaries, right? But their subsidiaries, they also don't really do it, right? They outsource to somebody else and this. So even if you work for small companies like SMEs, SI, system integration, in Korea, it means outsourcing, basically. It's another, I think, Konglish word, like after service or something, right? AS, right? It means outsourcing, right? So basically what outsourcing means, they take projects and they do it and then they sell it, like they do it for money, right? But there's so many small companies. There may be thousands of, not 10,000 of, right? And usually they employ like relatively cheap developers, right? And their turnover is very high because they don't want to raise the salary. They want to do like a quantity over quality and so on because they're not going to do this project. They just do project, they finish, they develop, they deploy, and that's it, right? They're not going to continue working with them, right? Normally, right? But some of them grow pretty well and become like SMEs. SMEs from 100 to 500 people, something like this. Also, you will be surprised, but a lot of jobs, a lot of labor, like a lot of like positions opened by government, not directly though. It's open through the government agencies, right? These government agencies, there's a two competing Ministry of SMEs and Ministry of ICT, right? And they have under them so many government agencies. What they do, they provide funding to startups. Startup has a lot of ideas. Every startups do AI, right? But no, like maybe 1% of them really does AI, right? Most of them, they just, the AI are written in PPT, right? So there's no really AI, right? But they want to do something, right? That's why they get some funding from government and they sometimes outsource or hire directly people, right? So when you're going to look at this market, right? Even if you work small companies, sometimes you do work for big companies. And startups, unlike in other countries, in our country, maybe in you guys' countries, right? Startups are not poor in Korea. Startups can survive for a long time without being profitable in Korea. That's a good thing for startups, bad thing for economy, I guess, as a whole, but that's the way it is. So startups have good money and they can survive. Of course, they're more likely to kind of go awry, but you don't need to worry about it because even if you get the first job in startups, later on you can get better job in somebody else. And startups different from it from one another, right? So any jobs is good, and also you can see the structure of the market as well. I think this is will only grow, and this will also only grow. And actually, these times, because of the like economy going slowing down, right? Competition is going to be harsher, right? They're going to be wanting to more hire more foreign developers because they may be more affordable and maybe they will have some better quality and something like this. So something like this. So you need to bear it in mind. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Let's take from the top and see, for example, we have a carrot, Tongan market, right? Everybody knows Tongan market, right? It's an app when you sell used goods, right? Uh, who can be in these projects? Of course, not everybody will be in this project, but most of them will be. First of all, it's a project manager, right? Project managers are kind of very weird kind of people. They're not developers, but they kind of like they managing developers, right? Because developers normally communication skills, whether good or bad, they cannot communicate directly to clients because it's too much waste of time for them, and there's a kind of understanding gap between client and developer. So project manager, being more tech savvy, they can kind of translate what developers needs to do from the desire of the clients, right? So project manager, responsible project, product manager, responsible for the product, and product owner is responsible for the whole kind of division or something like this, right? Actually, in the company, in Korean companies, this is a very kind of rare. Most of them, they use kind of team John or like team leader. Usually lead developer will do this kind of project manager job, right? But in some of them already, there's decent project managers as well. So we have backend. Uh, what backend does? Backend developers is a code developers. It's like developers that you know, like from everyday life, right? When people say developer, normal people, common person, they mean backend developers, right? What do they do, right? Backend developers work with data, right? They organize data, right? And they organize access to this data, right? By external one, right? So basically, they write a code in different language, right? And this code then be like implemented by the computers, right? And also be used somewhere else, right? Without user interface, only inside. What is inside? There's a couple of languages, of course. There's Java, there's a Python, there's a Node.js, there's C++, C#. Actually, first two are the most popular in Korea, Java and C++. And C#. Why they're most popular? Because historically, everybody, big company, they did it in Java, and then this people from these big companies went to create their own startups. They also did in Java. So surprisingly, Java dominates, right? That's why we also kind of teach Java. We also have DevOps. DevOps, they usually like clear DevOps, they don't really write code. They work with servers, right? In this case, in Korea, servers are usually like cloud service, right? But it doesn't mean they somewhere else. They also in Korea. All servers are in Korea, right? AWS, they have all service in Korea, and some other companies have service in Korea. Some of them in Pangyo, let's say, right? And they have DevOps engineer who take care of service, right? Usually in Korea, though, they are interrelated, right? Senior or middle, from middle plus backend developers, they also do DevOps. Okay. Now we have a front end, mobile included. Front end, they're responsible for the interface of the website, interface of any kind of display, right, for the users to operate. They also like use code developed by backend developers, right, to connect with the front end. And mobile, we have two types. We have native, Android, and Swift for iOS. And we have so-called hybrid, when you write one code, but it can be used for two different platforms, iOS and Android. Actually, these days, Flutter becoming more popular in Korea as well. Let's say Alibaba was written in Flutter. We do actually both, right? Depends on the client's wants. Design. Design is kind of tricky in Korea. In Korea, hire a lot of designers, but not a lot of designers do really design. This kind of weird, right? Sometimes they do project manager work, sometimes they do everything like this. And most of the designers in Korea called UX UI designers, but they're not really doing UX UI. Most of them, they do graphic design, they do web design. UX UI design is very different. UX design is like how easy buttons located, how it's easy for user to use. UI, how pleasing in eye it is, right? So it's very difficult, right? But also every project needs at least one designer, right? That's also promising. For the graphic designer is usually for catalogs and like leaflets or testing. In Korea also, we lack testing, right? Usually developers are kind of cocky a little bit. They say, oh, we don't need testing. We all test. They test themselves sometimes, right? It's rarely when the testing is in place. But if it's in place, it's very helpful, right? We have two types, manual tester who like work with the hands, like check it manually, and after tester who creates kind of script, usually also in Java. And some of the Python as well. Also, we have data science. As Vladimir already explained, we have data analysts who more working with Excel and sometimes with some business intelligence sites like a BD, right? BI. Data scientist, that's who we're gonna teach you. I mean, if we teach you, you can do all of them, right? So you can choose and then maybe see what's company needed. And it's not like that the analysts only do analysts, right? It's like 30%, maybe 50% there, 20% there. Data engineer, ML engineer is also going to talk to you about two separate functions. Is prompt engineer. Some of the like startups who do AI using usually prompt engineer. They are like creating very interesting prompt. They can give you better result. Let's say in ChatGPT, like and blockchain developer. Blockchain developer is separate developers. It's not related to data science. It's related to like blockchain or like cryptocurrency, right? And they actually also earn a lot. But and there is not so many jobs, as I can see, but they're all very man demanding. And actually, foreigners are really considered to be very preferable for blockchain. I don't know why, historically, I guess. Okay, next slide. Okay, I can just tell you about a little bit of my perspective, right? 50,000 new developers is going to be needed by 2028. I just give you an example, right? Why 50,000 is a big amount, right? For example, in a year, it's like, let's say 10 to 20,000 developers in AI only hire, right? So it's a huge amount, right? Huge amount in 3 years. And 7 out of 10 companies are willing to hire foreigners, and a lot of government doing the special Indian project when you can hire Indian developers. We actually place like from 2 to 5 people foreigners every month, right? And they always ask us for like more foreigners, something like this. So it's a lot of people, right? And as you can see in the Korean, they kind of turning an eye on us, on foreigners, and say, "Oh, this is so many foreigners. Why not we use them like for like attract good talents, right?" Because Korean companies they do not outsource overseas. Some of them, but mostly they do not outsource to India, do not outsource to Vietnam. Only a few of them, right? That's why it's very good that we are here. I can give you also like a little bit demanding career. Let's say UX UI developer, right? UX UI designer. Right now, it's like more than 2,000 jobs. Let's say Java developer is like also 2,500, and front-end engineer is 2,300, right? But it's of course more because sometimes they say front-end engineer, sometimes they say React engineer, sometimes they say JS engineer. In total, maybe it will be like over 5,000. And you see, AI is almost 6,000 jobs, right? Actually, I'm skeptical. I think they want to hire, but not, of course, this backend developers or front-end way more people than AI developers, right? It's just they want to hire. There's a big demand for them, right? And let's say we teach a lot about Russian-speaking people, right? And let's say for Russian-speaking jobs, it's only like 300 jobs, right? So you can see this like more than 10 or 20 times more than what we normally can do as a managers. Okay, let's speak about money a little bit, right? When you just start your job career, right, you consider to be a junior or CNIP, right? And you're gonna earn something, you're gonna earn same as career people, but you're gonna earn small. Normal salary is from some 30 million to 36 million won, right? You can go as low as 28 million and as high as 40 million won, right? It's from 2.4 to 3 million won per month. Also, when you go to middle, you will have more responsibility and your salary would be up to 70 million, right, per year. And senior, of course, sky is the limit. You can earn up to one ok, which is 100 million won per month, per year, of course, right? Of course, this like pessimistic view, right? That's based on now because for some of them, they got 60 million is the first job, but it's rare. So I'll tell you like general, kind of minimal amount that you can get. So like it's not necessarily good money in the beginning, but it's a good career that you can work like for the next 20, 30 years before, of course, AI will kind of gather all humans, right? Okay, and now about the knowledge, I will go back to Vladimir and he will tell you about what's needed to become a developer.
Let's talk about the general knowledge that is needed when you are working on any AI project. And usually you kind of need some of the technical skills. For example, like the Python programming or you can actually kind of work with any other languages, but the Python is more general use. So you need some technical skills that you really can work with the data. Okay. And then you of course need the creativity, because most of the times that there are a lot more data than we think initially, and your creativity most of the time helps you to get even more data or process the data in some really like creative ways, or find the new approaches. And then let me go this side first. And then of course you need some analytical skills, because you need to understand the data, and you need some statistics. I mean, you yeah, at least need at least a bit of statistics, because you need to understand the data, you need to analyze it, right? And then you you actually need the soft skills, because the AI field more is a lot about the communication. Because once you have some finding, you need to explain the reasoning, or like the way you see it, to other people. So you need some soft skills when you explain to your colleagues or your team members what you found, and why you think uh, the way that you are doing is the right way to do it. And yeah, the motivation I'll not explain, because we always need the motivation. And lastly, you need some domain knowledge. And domain knowledge is that like for now you see that AI is applied in many different fields. For example, like AI in language or in the learning, right? So if you are applying the AI in teaching, the teaching field, then you need to understand how humans learn the new stuff, right? And once you understand that field, like then you can apply AI efficiently. So this is like the domain that you need to understand, and this is like helpful, especially if you have, I mean, your own background. I don't know, like some of you might come from the music background, or some of you might have like working in the factory, and you understand how the factories are constructed, and like their like pros and cons, and like the flow, how the factory should work, right? And for those of you, it will be easier to apply the AI than the people who didn't work there. And probably some of you are from medical science, and for those of you, it will be easier to apply the AI than, for example, for me, who just comes from the computer science field, who doesn't have this domain knowledge. Now, let's talk about some like interesting recent news. Who from you uh, heard about the DeepSeek? Is there like any of you? It actually came almost for like in many news. No? Okay. The DeepSeek is the company that released uh, the new AI. They call like, yeah, the DeepSeek recently released a new AI model, the open source AI model. That's called like DeepSeek R1, and this DeepSeek V2. It's like something similar to ChatGPT, right? And the like it was like a couple of weeks ago, I guess. And once it released, I don't know, like if some of you are watching the stock market, a lot of like the big companies, like I think the Nasdaq lost a lot, around $1 trillion in one day. In one day, like last Monday, this Monday, because uh, like most of the leading AI models that was developed by now was from the big companies that has a lot of money. They just like hire top engineers, and general understanding was that you need a lot of money to create you to train some basic model, and those companies would spend like at least 500 million for training one model. Okay, for example, the GPT-4 or something, they would spend like at least 500 million. Of course, we don't know, because it's a closed source and they didn't release uh, the actual amount that they spent. However, the DeepSeek created, they actually the company itself was created like a couple of years ago. and they claim that they spent only $6 million for training. And of course, I mean, there are a lot of like controversy about that, and people say that they didn't count everything, but they released like, yeah, they claim that they spent like only $6 million, and they open sourced it. And what do you think happens now? Actually, there is a lot of panic on the market saying that since there is a cheaper version of the AI released and it's released for the open source, then the AI field is kind of doomed. So you kind of like the companies, the big companies will not get enough investment. However, I don't know. Some of you who was following this news, they have like this term called like Jevons paradox. And Jevons paradox says that once some technology gets cheaper, then the adoption becomes like it like a lot of like companies and a lot of people can start adopting it. Let's say like for example, when the first computers appeared, right, we would have rooms like only the giant computers. You would need like a lot of I don't know, like millions of dollars to have only one single computer. And then like probably I don't know who was the first company, but probably the Apple came up with their first personal computer, and it became very cheap. And now we see that everyone, like these days, like almost everyone have their own laptop, right, or their own PC, and that lead actually to mass adoption. And now, since these companies are releasing the open sourcing, like the GPT level AI, for the cheaper price, there are gonna appear a lot of companies, a lot of smaller companies who would want to, develop their AI stuff, because like now you don't need that high investments, right? You don't have that. You don't need that large capital to develop any AI. And now we'll like really see that that we are like I don't know, like probably I would say that we at least a year closer to the AGI, the artificial general intelligence, that is the AI that can do most of the tasks, right? Can
Okay,
we
okay,
go
okay.
to?
To
Oh, yeah.
comment a little bit on this,
Yeah.
I also like found this surprising information that DeepSeek, according to them, like who knows, right? Hiring
Mm.
preferences target technical abilities rather than work experience, so they want to hire like newbies more, right? And surprisingly, they want to hire people who are not even computer science background because they want to hire people with a domain knowledge, as we spoke here, right? As we spoke before over there,
Yeah.
right? About domain knowledge, right? This is really interesting. They like value like the domain knowledge sometimes even more, which is also a good sign for all of us, right?
Yeah. Now, let's talk like why we took our course to be 1 year. Actually, like I spent enough time for learning the Python. I spent like a couple of years to research and have some experience working in the company. But there are a lot of stuff that in general, like Python programming, that what we do is not needed for the data science field. Like that's why we kind of like we like at least, yeah, I think that we can squeeze this knowledge to 2 months, because in the first 2 months we learn the basic Python programming, we learn how to work and process the data, which is like exactly skills that needed for you to work with the data and to develop your own AIs, right? And then I spend a lot of time like to like like really research the basics of AI. But when you're working in the company, you don't need that deep understanding of the architecture of the AI. Yeah, yeah, you don't need that the deep understanding of the AI, and that's why like we will only learn the basics that's required to to understand the field. And now I'm working in at a company called Deep in Source. Yeah, I will explain later. Yeah, so the research part is mostly don't needed for regular stuff, and you can do most of the stuff, and that's why we can squeeze it to 4 months, and the company experience, and we are taking this one to larger part, and this one is basically needed because I want you to understand the real trend, what's happening in the company, and I think we'll spend like almost like half of our parts, like half of our the course for learning the or doing the real projects. So this is like this all compounds to 1 year. And yeah, I see some of the questions in the chart. For the YouTube channel, I don't know, like probably Vladi can answer if I have the YouTube channel.
No, we do have, but we don't post anything. No.
And for the company, I currently work in the company called Deep in Source, and we are doing the video processing or video surveillance system. So we are working with the companies where like imagine that you are in the convenience store or something, and the convenience store can know the average age or the gender of all the customers that are coming to the company. Yeah, and now let's talk about some of the project that not necessarily, but I'll probably kind of uh, suggest you to do later in our project, in our courses. And some of them are, for example, the X-ray processing, and this field is that you can process or work with the X-rays and make a diagnosis on the on using the data. So you can actually train the AI that can predict the cancer or the forecast the cancer, or yeah, and make a prediction on the X-rays data. Another project that we might do is the stock market movement prediction, and this one was kind of a big field that I was working at my master's program. Is that, as you know, that around like 50 to 80%, can we go back, please? From 50, yeah, from 50 to 80% of all the trading in the Nasdaq are done with AI, or in other words, it's called like algorithmic trading or the AI trading, right? When you develop the AI that can predict the future market movements. And this is like also kind of the big field that a lot of researchers, a lot of people are doing these days. And the last one is the content generation. So this is kind of also the new stuff that you can actually generate some of the knowledge or the content based on the student's background. And you can customize the lectures and everything based on the human interest. And probably Vladi will show you the example what we're doing in the Habsida, and you will kind of have a better understanding of what this kind of project is aiming to do.
So basically, like, I guess we have more than maybe 7 minutes to 10 minutes to finish. Sorry for running late. We always run late, right? Okay, sorry for this. Okay, so first, whenever you wanna, whoever you wanna become from IT, you need to choose IT field, right? Choose it wisely, but don't like delay choosing, because the longer you choose, the less confident you will become, the less like decisive you will become, right? And you will never choose, right? It's psychology, right? It's better to choose something than understand that, oh, it's not for you, and to switch is because switch is easier than start. Next is education. We will be happy if you educate, if you study with us, but even if you don't study with us, we want more foreigners to work in Korea, in IT as well. we create community. So yes, you have a lot of other opportunities. I mean, in Korea, I think we're like one of the cheapest, and we're the on the one of few who's teaching English. But there's so many other resources, right? You can learn. Just bear in mind, if you learn yourself, it's a very low probability of people that can learn themselves, like because it's a lot of discipline involved, right? It's of course most importantly you need to decide, right? And we'll have commercial projects. Whether you do with us, we'll give you one. If you don't do with us, you'll need to find something that you do for free, right? And you need to do it for experience. And then employment, right? It's all combined. Employment, by the way, in Korea, hard skills not that important. Soft skills is more important. How you speak, how you describe yourself and your journey, and how you match with the company that they see you as a new hire. Okay, I'll tell you about the courses and a little bit about what we're gonna do with AI as well, right? The courses last 12 months. The education schedule is flexible. It offers combination of pre-recorded courses and classes with Vladimir. Pre-recorded courses already in place, so you can go in your own pace, right? You can actually like graduate earlier, right? But you need to study hard. You need to study like at least 2 hours per day to come up with the course curriculum, right? But you can choose your own time for studying, right? It doesn't need to be like, will need to be some like concrete time, right? We also like we employ most of the people who graduates, right? And we mentor them by experienced developers and teachers. We also bring some experienced developers to do some seminars, and we also do offline seminars in Seoul, in Incheon, and so how we teach you guys, right? We give you a lot of tasks, then we support you by a mentor. Our platform is in English and consists of more than like 100 tasks, 200 tasks. You will have statistics, warnings, auto assessment, and AI interviews. So basically, you will be stick to this platform, right? And they will constantly remind you of your own progress. And also, you will teach mentor as well. What is AI mentor, right? For some of the topics, for most of the models that you pass, you need to pass the review. A review is kind of like mini exam. Yeah, can
That's
you
right.
press?
Yeah.
So basically, this is a little bit of sneak peek, right? So after, for example, every model, you have something like this, right? When you choose to start, and then you will be asked some kind of questions, right? Actually, it has sound, right? But maybe you, Vladimir, shared without sound. Yeah, but this has a sound, so they ask you some questions, right? Then it will be time that you will repeat it, right? And then you like can answer it, and then it will be analyzed into our algorithm. It will give you two things. We'll give you uh background, right? Not background, we give you explanation what you did wrong, and we also give you feedback, right? Also how you should have done, right? You can scroll to to the like later side of the video
Mm.
to see how the like result looks like. Maybe to the even further. Yeah, something like this, right? You need to score 70 points, something like this, right? Okay, let's go to the next slide. And I will show you right now, you actually the first people that I show you, right? What will be the next things that we're working on right now? It's not going to be available tomorrow, right? Maybe next slide.
Excellent.
It's not going to be available tomorrow. It's going to be available sometime later on, but this year for sure. Okay, let's
This
press it.
one.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's press it. It's a new demo. So basically, like there will be kind of like a lesson with the AI, right? So if will the AI will know who are you, what's the background, how we prefer to study, right? It will ask you some questions. For example, in this case, would you like to do like review on new topic, right? Let's say you choose new topic, right? New topic is a recursion. It's kind of like more difficult topic, right? And it means like that you do it all over again, same method, right? And how he want to explain? He can explain you with a movie, right? But let's say you don't watch the movie, right? But for example, you like sport. So it will also explain you with sport analogy, right? Because we're testing it right now because we believe, it's not like we believe, it's like hypothesis that if it will also involve some kind of familiarity with the topic, it will help you to remember it better, right? We're actually about to do research with the Seoul National University about this, right? And we're going to launch sometime this year. And you're going to be the first students also to experience this kind of AI content as well, right? Okay, let's go next. Next slide. Uh, yeah, you can skip it and go next slide. Okay,
Yeah.
now let me tell you about the current myths, right? Current kind of very common misconception about the work, right? Which during my our like development of the company for 4 years, we hear it a lot. We have more than 400 students, so we know all the cases, right? So first case, right? Korean companies don't want to hire foreigners. It's not completely a lie, right? Because they would prefer hire Korean, right? But a lot of companies couldn't find decent programmer. They find their people who has bad ethics, or sometimes they cannot really code, fresh from universities, right? Our graduates at least can code and do very well, right? That's why, but they're not also against foreigners. They have nothing against foreigners. Actually, I would say they believe they can deal with foreigners better than they can really deal with them, right? They believe they're very open-minded, right? That's why we can use it, right, to our advantage. So they want to hire you. They don't want to hire you, but they will consider hiring you. There's no prejudice against you guys. So next, you don't need to know Korean. Even if you don't know Korean at all, you still have opportunities, because actually most of our graduates don't know Korean, right? But if you know Korean at least for like third grade, let's say topic 3, right? You can a little bit talk about yourself, right? That will be big, huge advantage, and then you can get hired way faster than that, right? Also, in the last part of education, we're gonna teach you how to like talk, how to present yourself, right? To train you as well with AI as well. So you will be better suitable, right? But you don't need to have a formal education, formal topic or whatever, right? Any Korean will help, but even if you don't have Korean, it's okay as well. Next. You must be computer science bachelor graduate. Like somehow it's more kind of connected to AI itself, right? But in general, like it's a unique field which you don't necessarily need, right? They will consider you if you have some projects, right? Of course, if you're computer science graduate from good university, it will open you more doors, right? But even if you don't, it's not close any. Okay, next. You know programming, you can, right? This is like questions, right? What if you know programming? You need to start from somewhere. Consider it's a game, right? I believe that anybody with a high motivation can learn how to program. It's not that difficult. You just need to repeat over and over again. You just need to learn, like, let's say, 200 kind of functions, and then you need to combine with the logic and your personal experience to solve some tasks, right? You need to repeat, right? If you study like for like 6 months, for like 2 to 3 hours, you will learn how to program. I'm not gonna say that you will be best in programming, but you will be good enough to build a career. Okay, next. Actually, like less than like 80%, less than 20% of people actually know how to program before joining our course. So like we learned motivation is a key to graduate. Okay, too young or too old. The younger the better. Usually foreigners are usually younger than Korean people. Let's say Korean people start their career in 28. We can start in 21, 22. So we have kind of advantage, right? So this is not a problem, right? But if you're over 40, it's harder. I would say it's harder. So you're like finding a job would be harder for you guys, right? Because you will also be judged upon your soft skills, right? You will be judged if you can manage the team, because in the age seniority still exists in Korea, but still possible. Next, we have like maybe 5 cases where over 40 guys find a job. Next, ah, one sponsor your visa, right? Some of the companies want sponsor your visa, right? They're like too lazy, or they want to have a burden, but I think it's 50-50. But some of the companies, they have no problems. They just don't know how to do it. So you will need to explain to them, like, this is not a big deal. This is not a hard process. And if they qualify, and most of the companies are qualified, you can do it, right? It's more important that you will be qualified for getting a visa. You can ask questions like in, let's say, any, basically, right? Regarding not only like AI, also regarding like work and career and like general view. Okay, we have some questions. Saad asking us, you have You do not target any specific company, right? The question was about which companies to target, big or small. You just apply for as many as you can. You land interviews and you prepare for the interviews. Before interviews, you don't need to prepare. Don't need to research a company. You just apply as many as you can, right? Because only like 1 to 5% of companies will reply to you, right? Mhm. Even if your CV is good. If nobody replied to you, it means that your CV is not good, right? You need to work on it, right? Or your presentation is not good, right? When they will keep replying to you, like the 5% of job posts that you apply for, that's already good. And then you will need to nail the interviews, right? So, but you don't choose because, for example, for some big companies, you do useless work. For some small companies, you have a lot of works to do, which is good for your beginning, right? I always say in the beginning, you need to focus on the work, right? The more work you do, the better for you. What profiles more competitive to current companies? Someone is really good in one area. Yes, somebody very good in one area, right? But you also mention as many technologies as you can. But if you cannot do one very well, this kind of not good. Of course, you can learn. And I will tell you, if you learn a lot of things, but cannot really do anything very well, it's way worse if you can do one things very well and others not very well, because you can learn how to do others way quickly if you do one thing well. I guess this makes sense. During the course will be certification be done. There's no formal certifications required for AI, right? For example, you can also like get some certificates for like say SQL certificate officially, something which will help, right? It's not going to be a decisive factor, it will help, right? It's more help you psychologically, but we also give you official certificate, right? For example, when people apply for, let's say, universities with the certificates, it somehow helps, right? When they kind of go to job, sometimes they ask about certificate. This is official one, but it's not higher education, guys, right? But of course, we'll give a certificate official from like our company. If you already work for Korean learners, do you have Korean interview prep? Yes, it's actually one main part of our preparation for jobs. We will teach you how to say, right? We will hear your story, but we will nail it and we will fix it so you can your story will be compelling ones, right? Okay. If you already work in a company, what's the reason for you to have this type of IT school? There is no reason if you work in a company if you like it, right? It's only the reason if you want to be like AI developer, right? If you want to switch to AI developer, if you're already AI developer, I think it's excessive for you because even most of your colleagues, most of your teammates will have no idea about what to do about AI, so they're going to learn from scratch. But if, for example, you're in another company, right, during this, and you want to switch career to, let's say, AI or to development, yes, of course, you're more than welcome, right? But you need to answer for yourself what you really want to do, right? For XY curriculum, do we need a specific computer? Actually, any computer will be good because we only like we mostly teaching based on Figma, which is web-based. Of course, you can download desktop app, but any computer will be good, and actually any like even without graphics, right? It's fine, right? But if, for example, you have something like last 3 years computer in last 3 years, it will be perfect. So no need to have anything like this. Okay, what else was the question? Explain the solid projects to a portfolio for job interview. Yes, projects are it's different for AI, it's different for development, it's different for UX UI design. If you're asking about UX UI design, right? Uh, yeah, UX UI design, it's more like you need to have as many as you can, right? And during the education with us, we'll give you a lot of projects that you will perform, and then you will form it as in a portfolio, right? As is a AI, right? You will be given several projects, right? And this project will be primarily reason why they will hire you, right? They will look at this project, you will explain what you did, and based on this experience, they will be big kind of beneficial for you, right? Okay, maybe Vladimir can answer this. Is being a
Uh,
researcher during master degree? It was this question, okay?
yeah, like usually I don't know. In Korea, I think yeah, it's not even depends on the company. If you did your research or you did your masters in the same field that you are joining at the company, then usually they count it as a experience. So I did my master's in AI field, and I was working at the lab. And like most of the time that we were working, we were doing the AI research, and we were working with the companies. So when I was entering to the company, they counted as an experience. So I entered already with 2 years of experience in the AI field.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's also different. For example, if you don't do lab work, right? Or if let's say you just a bachelor computer science graduate, right? It might not be the case, right? They will like need some internship and projects. So like our advice would be to go for projects, right? To try to do as many internship as you can to like have your resume better. Short-term courses, right? Okay. If, for example, you know some parts of the projects of the courses, let's say you already good in statistics, or let's say you already know Python very well, right? You can go forward in your group. You can, for example, graduate not in 12 months, you can graduate like 6 to 8, whatever, right? It depends on your speed. It's self-paced course. So like if you study harder, if you go through the curriculum faster, you will graduate faster. Uh, Maybe for Saad about like statistic models, Vladimir can answer, but we do have data analytical models, which also includes statistics. It's actually second part of education after Python, but Vladimir can comment on it more.
Yeah, like for the math part, that yeah, you're right that the model that we call the mass, we only cover the like linear algebra part, but later when we learned the ML part, if you saw the curriculum, uh, and there is the ML part, and the ML part usually covers the statistics, because as I mentioned, the machine learning is based on the statistics. So there I'll be explaining the statistics and then applying that knowledge to create the actual models.
If no more questions, sorry for taking up so long, right? And we're gonna send you the recording of this, so you wanna like refresh sometimes, right? And if you have anything else, you can just text us using the channels, right? Or you can text us directly as well, right? And if nothing, wish you good luck, and thank you for taking some time on the weekend. And good luck to you guys. And I hope we're gonna meet someday.